Welcome to The Universe is Talking, Season 2, Episode 2. I'm your host, King.
And I'm your host, Aja.
And today's topic is going to be older men dating younger women and vice versa, older women dating younger men. This is a topic that we decided to do based on a discussion that we had seen on one of the social media platforms. And knowing who we are, we thought this would be a good topic to introduce to our audience and give our opinions and breakdown on this particular topic.
And you asked me to lead this discussion specifically.
That is correct. That's right.
And I was wondering why. Not that I have experiences that are unlike many women my age and younger or older. I'm sure most of our audience has experienced either being attracted to an older man and woman, depending on your sexual preference, as someone older, and also being the victim of someone's attraction to you when you were younger or older. So I know that my experience isn't unique in that way, but I am going to refer to a novel that I wrote. I think it was released in March of 2018 called Good Old Soul. I'm going to refer to that because I think that it really highlights some of the positive experiences that can happen when an older man, younger woman duo romance occurs. But first, I want to put this disclaimer out there. King and I are not discussing very young people. We're talking 20s, capable of making good decisions, most likely to have a job, outside of their parents' homes. We're not talking about juvenile
right.
teenagers.
They don't exist on this podcast.
Exactly.
Unless the topic becomes kids or children or something like that. But outside
exactly.
of that, we are always talking 20 and up. We are always talking 20 and up.
Like truly adults. Okay. So with that said,
before we start that, let me just answer you on why I wanted you to start it.
Okay.
I know where I'm going with this topic. And although I'm supposed to be trying to be a little more behaved this season.
That's a lie.
No, I really am. I'm making a concentrated effort on that. But I don't want to dictate the pace of this particular conversation. I want to feed off of you a little bit. I'm still going to do what I do, of course. Ain't no stopping that. Right. But I just wanted to feed off of you a little bit, at least a little bit.
Okay.
You know me, I'll go gunslinging if you let me.
I know, and you're going to do it anyway. But I'm going to try to be the reasonable party here.
All right.
So I've had in my lifetime, and I don't think it will ever end, that there have been men who are attracted to me, and they have had a huge age gap with me. I have had experiences with men who are, say, 10 to 15 years older than me. I've had men approach me that are anywhere between 20 to 30 years older than me and make it very clear that they find me attractive. And I have found some men who are older than me attractive. I don't know that I've even dated someone my exact age. I think I've always dated someone that's been older. Well, I think there's an exception. Yeah, there's like a couple of exceptions. But for the most part, most of the people that I've gotten really serious with and have had true relationships with have always been a little bit older than me. But yes, I've gone deep enough where I can say I've been with an older man. And one of the things that I think when you're first getting involved with someone older that you may not even realize is the thing that's attracting you to them and them to you, is that there's some experiences you want to have that you know that this other party is more likely to give you. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, but an older man might look at a younger woman and think about her physical ability that maybe an older woman may not be able to provide them anymore or are less likely to provide them. And I want us to look at age differences that are pretty deep here. So let's say I'm 25 and he's 45, or, you know, he might even be 50. The women that are his age are in the 40s and the 50s, but those women may not be doing acrobatic shit. I mean, there's exceptions, but she may not be doing acrobatic shit. Her body is maybe not as supple or as tight, just because age just happens. Let's just be real. Age happens. It has a toll on us. That's not a bad thing. That's like a reward, in my opinion. I think we are only seeing it as negative, but the point is here that you are always going to be attracted to what you were attracted to. You know, you kind of get stuck. So it's like there's a point, like there's like if I look at a 30-year-old man, he might have been my ideal even in my 20s. And then when I get to 40, he's still like my ideal because that's what I'm attracted to. But here I am now 40. And then when I'm 50, the year-old man now my ideal, probably not. Like that 30-year-old is like my ideal. But here I am constantly moving towards, you know, creeping up in age. But my ideal, my physical ideal is 30. So this, I think, is to blame for why you have an older guy coming at a younger woman, because that younger woman was his ideal. That's the body, that's the youth, that's the look, that may even be the sexual experience that he's always desired. And even as he got older, that didn't change. And so the women that are his age just don't appeal to him the same way because he's stuck in his attractions. So that's one. And then I think another big thing as far as what we don't realize is like pulling us to this big age gap difference is that there are things that especially an older man can teach a younger woman, not just sexually, even though that's big. I mean, the reality is the older he is, the more sex he's had. The more sex he's had, the more experiences he knows, you know, for the most part, he really knows how to work that body. And he's more likely to give you orgasms and a great sexual experience if he's physically capable, okay? Than say someone who's young and possibly your age young who does not have all those experiences behind them. So older men are more likely to give you great sexual experiences if they're physically capable of doing so, because that age thing doesn't just apply to a woman's body, it applies to his as well. So, you know, my experience here is that I've had great sexual experiences with men who are older than me, period. But I think, you know, we can talk about some of the downsides, you know, after maybe you talk about a few things, because I don't want to like make it seem as if it's always a bad thing. But I know that once you get past the physical and sexual attraction, if you start spending time with this person, and now you know what? I'm sorry to ramble.
No, you good.
But I think I figured out what it was on Twitter that prompted us to use this as a topic. I want to say there was a man who was posting about how, you know, a young woman may be like trying to work him harder than he's physically capable of working, and you know, not realizing his limit.
Oh, really?
I'm just saying. And
good luck with that. Ain't no overworking me or outworking me. That ain't gonna happen. Nah.
You're still relatively young.
Yeah, that's
okay?
Cool.
You
10
are.
years from now, I'm gonna still be the same way. It ain't gonna happen.
And even 10 years from now, that's still kind of relatively young. I mean, I can tell you, having a sexual experience with someone who might be 20 to 30 years older than you, and you are in your 30s, is way different than, say, being in your 30s and having a sexual experience with someone in their 20s. That age gap is not the same. There are, like, when we're talking huge age gaps, we're talking men who are in their 50s are not performing unless it's an exception. Like, he's very fit. You know what I mean? Like, he's taking all the supplements, he's working out. And I can see, because you're an athlete, our listeners may or may not know that. If they're not following, they may not know that you're an athlete. So you keep your body in tip-top shape. But the average man, even if he occasionally has periods of time where he works out, is not at his, like, physical prime all the time. He's going to age. He's going to slow down. He's not going to be the same man he was when he was in his 30s. His testosterone levels are lower. He's gained some gut. You know, let's just be real. Let's have an honest conversation. Men get older. Women aren't the only ones who physically change. Men change too. And
I'm only laughing because I got a homeboy, and I'm not going to say no names at all, but I got a homeboy. When I met him about 20 years ago, he was worse than anything that you would ever have imagined about me. And fast forward 20 years later, he is still that same exact way. And he's about to be 50 in like a few years or whatever. And he's still the same way. He still got the younger women, the older women, everything in between. And he is still going. I
can believe it. I think if you know the lifestyle you want to keep up, you are going to do certain things to stay there. But I think that a lot of men haven't really thought it out. You know what I mean? Like, they may have, maybe they're married, you know, so they're not even supposed to be thinking like this. Or maybe they recently divorced, or recently out of a long relationship, or just haven't had luck in love, and finally decided, you know what, forget trying to go for women my own age, that's nothing but drama, or whatever the case may be. I'm going to start looking outside of the box. And this may be when they start to, you know, get with younger women who certainly have their reasons for looking at older men. And they may not have really thought out, you know, getting in shape, like being prepared for the workout that might come with being with a woman who is going to want it a lot more, or is going to be physically capable of doing a lot more in bed. And this is not to say that older women cannot do that. But again, there are exceptions, and then there's the average. Okay, so that's what we're talking here. I think that was the tweet, and I think that, you know, it was a funny tweet, because it was like, you know, I don't know how he said it, but he was like, "No, I need an aspirin. Like, you see me losing my breath, like, I don't want no more. Like, I need an aspirin. Call 911." You know, I think it was that. And that kind of prompted me to say that this is a topic, because sometimes that age gap, it doesn't make you realize what the other partner truly needs, because it's not where you're at.
Right.
So.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you hit on all of those points, because I am not touching any of those right there. I didn't come here to talk about sex in this topic. I came here to talk about everything else that happens when that old man gets that young girl. All right, so let's start this off right away.
Okay.
There's a certain excitement when that old man is dating that younger woman, and it begins when he first sees her and she doesn't have any clothes on. Again, I'm not talking about sex. I'm not talking about when they're indoors and she's naked. I'm talking about when they're out and it's the wintertime, it's snow on the ground, and she has on a belly shirt with no coat. He's looking at her and thinking, she must be one of the X-Men. I know this is about to be special. She don't even need a coat on, and it's 30 degrees outside. So then he starts spending time with her, and she tells him, Pa, play Welcome to the Party. He doesn't really know what that means. He thinks she wants to go to a party, but then she tells him, no, it's a song. I want you to play the song for me. So he plays the song, and he likes the song. So now he's feeling young again. He has the young girl. He knows the new hot shit that's coming on that all the young kids are listening to. He's feeling like he's back in his 20s right along with her. So this is all going great so far.
Mm-hmm.
So then, they finally have sex, and he comes to her place, and she already has the music playing. He smells the weed smoke in the air. He knows that this is about to be a great night. Now, again, he's older, so the music is different with her, considering that they're about to have sex. He's used to listening to some Anita Baker, some Floetry, some Sade, maybe even some Trey Songz, Chris Brown, Tank, that type of stuff. But
really? If he's older? You're not talking about older. You're talking you're older then. Because mine is like the OJs, you know what I mean? Like, okay.
It depends on the woman he's with for the night.
Okay.
But see, with this young girl, she wants to fuck the drill music. Brooklyn drill music, Chicago drill music. He doesn't know what's going on, but it's different. And he thinks, yeah, this shit is exciting. He's never heard these songs before, but he will be damned if he lets some drill music come between him and this 20-something-year-old fruit. All right, so the music is on, and she starts dancing for him now. And I'm not talking about a two-step or some real seductive type dancing. She only has one move. She twerks. That's all she can do. She can twerk fast. She can twerk slow. She can bend her knees and twerk low. Twerk, twerk, twerk. That's all she can do. So they have sex, and sex is just sex, so we can skip that part. But then we fast forward, and now we talk about the downfalls of this excitement of being with this young girl. All right, so he's been dealing with her, and what the hell are they talking about? On what level can they connect mentally? Right. He's got, like we've already said, he's got at least 10 years on her, if not more. So they can't talk about the 70s, they can't talk about the 80s, they can't talk about the 90s. Mm-hmm. They can't talk about how times have changed. They can't talk about how cheap gas prices used to be, how the quality of weed has changed. They can't talk about none of that. All they can really talk about is Instagram, maybe Meg the Stallion, and Welcome to the Party. That's what they can talk about.
What is Welcome to the Party? I don't even know what Welcome to the Party is. Is that really a song?
Yeah, that's really a song.
Who sings it?
It's not important to you and I. It's not about that. This is about his old ass getting introduced to this new shit.
Well, I'm an old ass too. That's my point.
Yeah, but this ain't about us.
Okay.
All right, so he doesn't realize, now we're going to go a little further into what's wrong here. He doesn't realize that the young girls lie like nothing he has ever seen before. He's old, so he can't really catch on to what's going on. He just thinks that she has the worst luck ever. First, her cat died. Then she bought a puppy, and the puppy sprained his ankle. Then the puppy has asthma, and her grandmother got hit by a train, but she survived the train accident. She just came out with a bruised pinky. That's all, from the train hitting her. And his dumb ass believes every single thing that this young girl tells him. Why? Because he's stupid. His old ass is stupid. He don't belong with this young girl no goddamn way. He needs to be dating in his age range. I give him 5 to 10 years maybe, but he start getting into dangerous waters once he goes to 10 years and beyond. But because he's looking for some excitement, he thinks he's missing something out there. Now his dumb ass is getting lied to every single night. She stopped responding to his calls and his texts around 8:30 every night, and he thinks she just fell asleep. No, your old ass went to sleep. She is out there having a ball. She's sucking on balls. She's out there doing everything that your old ass is dreaming about her doing to you.
Right.
But you wanted to play this game, so here you go.
I want to interject. I have to. Okay, so this is basically where the question is, what makes people get involved in these relationships? Is like beyond the sexual and all the experience and wisdom. Sometimes some women and men are looking for father or mother figures. Someone who can help guide them, and oftentimes that older person has a lot of sense. And so even if you're not thinking of them as a father figure, that's essentially what happens. They come to you with a lot of wisdom and sense, and that feels good to get that type of leadership and wisdom and guidance and support that you may not be getting from younger men who are kind of like trying to figure it out like you are. But the other thing that is often the attraction is that this older person is usually established. They went through the bumps of trying to figure out how to manage their finances. They may have owned home, or at least, be current on rent, have money in the bank, more than one car, or a car that's well maintained. They're at a point in their life where they're not trying to figure things out as much. And so that's often attractive. And even if the younger person, whoever she or he, the younger person has their own, they're still usually trying to figure out how to make it and do well in it. So they may not be asking or looking or seeking money from this older person, but ultimately speaking, they're more motivated by this person having it together. And then let's just put it out there. Some women and men are looking for that handout that sometimes comes from that older person. So, there are a lot of younger women who are sitting there, like you said, after 8 o'clock, they're with their man. You know what I mean? Like the man just don't really have no job, or doesn't have like a well-paying job or whatever. But, with you have it together. You can afford, this older guy can take her out on dates, take her to like really special places and do really special things with her that she can't get with this younger guy. And so often the appeal is that they're taken care of by the older person, and that's what keeps them beyond that initial sexual attraction that first brings them together. Then it becomes, you're taking care of me. And when that wears out, like when that older guy decides, I'm tired of giving her shit, or I'm not going to be used. Maybe he's not dumb. Maybe he's been here before a number of times. That might be when she starts to fall away and start doing her own thing, because she's not getting what she came for, which was to have a sugar daddy. I'm going to just put it there. But it can, the roles reverse, like older women, younger men. It's the same or similar. Oftentimes the older women are taking care of these younger men. And it may not just be money, but just a place to stay. It could be that she's feeding them, and all those things are some of the things that start to aggravate you. Like, do you really want to be a baby to this older woman? You don't want to be her baby. Like, you might want her to cook for you.
Or maybe he does, though. Or maybe he does.
But then I think when it like starts to become a problem is when she starts to have expectations of him, like a mother would have of her son. Where like, I want you in by say 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. You know what I mean? Or like, don't wear that, or don't do that. Like, she starts to become a parent, and this is when you realize this age gap is a problem. It's not sexy anymore. She has become your mother. Or flipping it, he's become a father. That sugar daddy thing, it comes with expectations. He's going to give you things, but what does he expect of you? And those may not be things that you're always willing to give. Sex might have been one thing, but the other things that he's requiring of you, you're like, I don't want to do all that.
What things are you referring to, though? Like stability of some sort? Financial stability, maybe of some sort?
Well, I mean, he might be requiring her to be like, I don't know, like he might be like a daddy figure. He might start trying to control her life. You know, I want you here. I need you to do this. Like the same thing. Like he may have expectations. Or a lot of times when you're thinking of older men, a lot of times when younger women are thinking of older men, they're thinking he's settled down and, you know, like I'm going to get from him what I'm not going to get with a younger man. He's not going to be playing me. Sometimes they just be older players. So here you are, yes, he's giving you money, but he's still dogging you out. He's no different. And that may also be a problem, is you find that he's not any different than the younger guy.
Than the young boys, yeah. She thought she was going to get somebody that's old and ready to settle and commit.
Right.
And he's still out there running wild like the young boys.
Right. So, and I know that there are exceptions. Sometimes these May-December romances work out well, and I did write about that in Good Old Soul, a relationship that worked. But the elements that I gave that couple, Amina and Gabriel, are that she's pretty much an old soul. So him playing his oldies it's not a problem with her, because she's already kind of in tune to that as it is. She's not really a younger woman in her spirit, in her soul. She's physically younger, but she's kind of like with the whole older people vibe. So their 20-year age gap isn't as big as it would be if she was the girl, as you described, who's playing Welcome to the Party and only twerking, you know. But then even in my book, I highlight still the age differences exist because Amina's pretty acrobatic. He thinks that he can keep up with her in the same way. He's physically fit, but in one of the scenes, you know, he finds that he shouldn't have done something that he did, and he has trouble getting out of bed the next morning. You know, the reality is there are differences. Those differences, if you're in that kind of relationship, need to be accounted for. You shouldn't be trying to do what the other one's doing just because they're doing it. Know your limitations, or get to that point if you can. You know, like if it matters to you to actually make this relationship work, find some sort of common ground, or recognize that these differences exist and nothing's going to change that. These are just the things that we just can't. We're not gonna participate in together. So yeah, that's what I got on it.
I don't fully remember if I said this in season 1. I'm almost positive I did, but I'll say it again just in case.
Okay.
I spent my college years in the strip club. I was there, and I've seen older men come in, and I'm talking about somebody in particular. I've seen an older man come in as me and my homeboy are sitting there. He looks like he's in his 40s or 50s. He's coming to see one girl in particular. She's in her 20s. And he might throw a little money, he might not, but every single night he's leaving with her and he's taking her shopping. He's paying her rent. He's paying her college tuition. And she's taking it all.
Right.
I don't know the story of if she was taking it all with malicious intentions or not. I just know he was giving, and she was taking. And he looked like he was the happiest man in the whole strip club. And I'm just sitting there watching this go down. I've also seen the young, pretty stripper have the cop come pick her up every night that she's dealing with. And he's maybe 20 years or so older than her. and she has that security in being with her. She's wrapped up in his arms real tight. He's feeling like the man because, yeah, he's the cop, but he also has the young, pretty stripper that he's leaving with, and they're intimate. And he's getting everything that he could possibly want from her as far as appearances goes and as far as sex goes. Mm-hmm. But once the sex is taken out of the equation and he's seen her every single day, so now her looks doesn't matter as much anymore, there starts to become a divide between them because what do they really have in common to share with each other?
Right.
But while it all lasted, he, and I'm speaking about the cop in particular, he was completely fulfilled. He was getting everything that he wanted and desired. And then switching over to the other guy, the other older guy, he could care less about what they had in common and what they were going to share. He was just happy to have her. So whatever works for everybody.
Well, yeah, certainly. I think if it works for both people, then there's nothing wrong with it, you know, because we're talking about adult people making decisions about their life. That's perfectly fine. If it's not hurting anyone and you're happy doing it, fine. I think that oftentimes the dynamic doesn't work because so you get with this person for their youth, and what eventually will happen, they will grow old. And that can present a problem when that was the reason why you got with this person, is because they're young. I also think that this younger person that gets with this older person may not have thought about the disadvantages of being with someone who's older. And I don't just mean the fact that they might become like the daddy figure or a player just like the younger guy, not those things, but maybe that physically he may have been able to show a few tricks, but when you really think about it, like, he's more apt to just lay down and ask you to get on top because, you know, like, he's not really at that point where he's trying to put in all that much work himself. So you find that you're the one who's physically, sexually keeping up your experiences after a while because he's tired and he done been there and done that. Sometimes I think it's not even just the physical capability. It's just when you just been there and done that, in a lot of situations you may not be willing to put in the work anymore, even if you're physically capable of it, even if you're emotionally capable. You just don't want to. You done did it. You know, I even think about some of the things that, and I'm not talking about sex or anything like that, I'm just saying overall in life, that I'm capable of still doing that I did when I was 20. Mm-hmm. But I done did it. And you know what? I don't want to do it no more. There's a lot of things like that where I'm just like, I don't have to. I don't want to. I don't have to keep up that. And that is, I think, the last thing I wanted to say. A lot of times when the older you get, the more set in your ways you are.
Right.
That's number one. And number two, the more confident are in who you are. And oftentimes that means you're stubborn because you know you don't like this, you know you like this, you know who you are. And you're just not willing to change anything about yourself or what you're doing because you done been there, done that. You done did it already, especially if you've had a lot of failed relationships. And when you're young and you're still figuring those things out, you're willing to try a lot of things to make stuff work. You're still very open-minded, flexible, and not just physically, mentally, emotionally. You know, those, and your youthful enthusiasm goes a long way everywhere. And here you are with this immovable object who's not really willing to do anything different. And I think that is what you find out over time. It's like the thing that is not presented at first because you're like, he has all this experience and blah, blah, blah. But then you're like, you know what? He won't ever change his music. Like, you know, I want to listen to this, and he's like, he's going to stick with his, his jazz for today. Like, he's not going to put anything else on. And, that kind of thing can start to, like, break away at the whole mirage that this was going to be a beautiful thing. And I don't think there's anything wrong with May December relationships. I like to see them if they look authentically.
You don't think
like
there's anything wrong with what?
May December. They're called May December because of the gap between them.
Okay.
They're called May December romances, and is young and old. And so I don't think there's anything wrong with those types of relationships, but I often think they don't work because when it all boils down to it, you're so very different and have different types of expectations that are really hard to like bridge, to have a bridge to get to each other through. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I really wish I could have found the tweet that we had so that I could have quoted it.
That don't even matter, because now we're going to go into the older woman with the younger man now.
Okay.
So let's take what you said about that older man being stuck in his ways and being this immovable object, and take that into now this older woman is now ready to find a younger man. Okay. So now she's looking for somebody that she can teach some things to. She's been with the older men. Like you said, they are unmovable in their ways. So now she's going to go younger so she can start teaching him some things. So she's gonna introduce that younger man into an entire new world. He's going to be willing to let her dress him. She's going to cook for him and feed his soul. She's going to introduce him to artists that he's heard of, but he doesn't know the entire catalog like she knows it. And she could touch him in ways that younger women can never touch him. And that's not necessarily a physical touch per se. It could be as simple as her looking into his eyes and touching his soul. But her old ass is running game too.
Right.
For her, that young man is her prize. She got her motherfucking groove back dealing with this young man. He has his nose wide open for her because he doesn't know what type of headache she is. She's blinding him with compliments about how great his body looks, because the older men don't care as much about how their body looks. They just want to go out on the deck and grill. They want to drink their beer or wine and relax after a long day. That young man still goes to the gym. He has muscles in places that she hasn't seen in a very long time. And when they get alone, he has her legs in the air, and he's completely wearing that pussy out. He has her coming like she hasn't came since the days when she was in college. And this is what she's looking for. She's looking for that excitement again to make her feel young and youthful, like she still has it. Whereas that older man is tired of all of that shit that she has. Right. Just get out my way. Let me go do my thing on the grill and listen to my jazz and give me some peace and quiet. I'm tired of hearing your mouth. The younger man don't want to do nothing but hear her mouth. The younger man thinks that she is the greatest thing that he has ever seen. Or
the things that she provides him with is more important to him than all of that. I mean, because I think younger men also want peace, quiet, stability. Like, they're looking for certain qualities as well, but they often don't find that in younger women. So, or they do. They could. Who knows? But point is, they're willing to put up with what this older woman is doing because there are some things that she's able to provide that we were just talking about. Older men are able to provide younger women. That stability, the home cooking. Sometimes she might give him money. She's the sugar mama. You know what I mean? And that may be why he's there, along with the pussy. It's seasoned. You know what I mean? Like, it may not be doing all the trick. It knows how to do what it needs to do. she might know how to do better blowjobs because had a lot of experience. She may know how to physically touch him, and I'm saying, you said not just physically, but she may physically have that touch because she's played with enough penises in her life. She knows how to touch a man. She knows how to kiss a man. She knows how to smell good. She knows how to take care of herself. There's a lot of things that an older woman has experience and these young girls may not. So, all of that is a beautiful thing to him. Yeah, I mean, I think that there are lots of reasons why a younger man might put up with these things in this older woman. I don't know if you were done, and you probably weren't, but when I listen to us, when I'm listening to this discussion, I'm thinking, how beautiful would it be if we learn to love each other as we are? You know what I mean? Like, here you are, possibly in this relationship with a man who's your age, and instead of growing together, you're choosing to look like, she looks old to me and I want something younger. She's doing all this old shit and I need something young. And same for her. She doesn't want to grow old. She wants to youth. So she starts to look at the younger guy. Like, how great would it be to get old and accept that age that you're getting, all those experience, accept those things about each other and be happy with each other. Instead of being out looking for somebody 20 years younger than you to give you something back. Why do you need any of that back anyway? That's what I'm wondering. Why do we need any of that back? We did it. Whatever I did at 20, I did.
Right.
I did it. I don't gotta have it back. I did it. I had a great time doing it too. There's nothing better about that time in my life than this time in my life now. It's not better. It's just different. But why do we do that? Why do we see all those things as being better? Why are we looking at that youthfulness as better? I was having a conversation, and it was about millennials, for instance, and they were like, they bring so many fresh ideas. You don't think that older people brought fresh ideas on a job when they started? You don't think that at one time they were the millennials? They may have been called something different, but anybody that's 20-something coming into their new career is going to be excited about it. They're going to have a lot of ideas and visions, and there were some older people on that job that was looking at them like, come on, you little puppy. Shut up. They were young ones too. Don't think the millennials have the game locked on, intelligence and creativity and energy. No, every group of people have been young before and have seen things differently than their predecessors. Every group. So
something I want to throw in there with that, there's nothing like experience. And since we're talking about people, there's nothing like the experience of each other.
Right.
Yeah, you both might have gotten older, but you've gotten older together.
Yeah.
Which also means that the relationship has gotten older together. So now the both of you know what each other like. There's no guessing involved.
Right.
You don't have to ask 15 questions about what the hell she's talking about because you know exactly what she's talking about. This isn't new to you anymore.
Right. And I'm not saying all aged relationships and couples are compatible. I mean, you could have chosen this person before when you were younger and it was the wrong person then, it's still the wrong person now. So don't get me wrong. I'm not saying just because you spent 20 years together that this is your relationship. No, I mean, maybe it was terrible then. You made a bad choice then and you just happened to stay in it for a really long time. But my point still is that if that wasn't the case, if you chose someone at that time in your life and it was a good choice, a good decision, make the decision to then grow with each other. So that when you reach the point where you're in your 50s and, things are quiet and they're different and there doesn't seem to be that much youth left, and you're looking at those that are younger, and you're wishing that there's some of those things were still in your relationship, that you can work together to bring that in. Because I've been with my husband, it's 20 years. I remember who we were. I remember all the stages in between. And I know that it's a choice to, I guess we're going to call it youth, but to keep some of the elements of what we were in the beginning still in our relationship today. That's a choice. We could decide not to do any of those things ever again, and yeah, then we'll lose it. But if we choose to have it always and bring it forward, and then also appreciate that benefit of experience, like you said. I mean, the reality is we don't have to run our mouths with each other anymore to figure anything out. He knows, I know. Oftentimes we don't say shit to each other. We already know. He knows what I like. I know what he likes. We don't have to discuss it. That's beautiful. It really is. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't get me wrong, then there's times that you do need to talk. Just because you know it doesn't mean that you have to stop communicating. I mean, it's a choice to stay in this together. So I'm nothing against, I don't have anything against the older, younger relationships, but I think if you're doing it because you are having problems relating to people that are your own age, you really need to take a hard look at, why you made that choice to not grow with each other, and instead, constantly searching for that youth in younger people, and how you're going to always be disappointed in that, because that younger person is going to grow. And guess what? When they're growing, they have not yet figured out who they are yet. Here you are knowing who you are, and you're choosing this person at their point. But as they're evolving, guess what? They're likely not evolving into the person you want them to be. See what I'm saying? You're stuck. They're moving. They're no longer for you over time.
One thing I want to say about that.
What?
If they've been together for 20 or 30 years and they've gotten to a point where it's just not working out anymore, and I'm speaking about this from a personal level with my grandparents, they always have the option of not being together anymore. Because I don't know the full story about how good it might have been in the beginning or how bad it got in the end, but I know that there came a point where my grandparents couldn't stand each other anymore, and they were done with each other. So what did my grandfather do? He moved. He moved his ass 10, 15 feet away into a brand new bedroom and stayed in this goddamn house. That's what he did. And he went to work every day, and he came home and gave her the check, and she made sure all the bills was paid still. She cooked dinner still. They always went out and did everything, single thing together still. They just moved into different bedrooms. So that's always an option too. If it gets that bad, you could just move into a different bedroom.
Right.
And try it that way.
You decided to spend your life together. The way that looks can change.
Absolutely.
As long as you agree to the change. I think that's the part where a lot of people get it twisted, is that they're making these ideas and changes in their life that impacts their partner without bringing their partner along with them. And then also that being a partner who is unwilling to evolve with the person you're spending your life with. Both people have got to be flexible. I think that immovable person we were talking about earlier may not always, the reason why you're finding that you're challenged with them is because everybody's challenged with them, because they're not willing to ever change. They always want to be who they are, and they never want to change. And one of my things about marriage and being in a long relationship is that you can always be who you are. You should always be who you are, and your partner should want you to be. But there are some qualities that you've got to be flexible about. You be who you are, but that doesn't mean that you can't move on some issues or compromise on the way that you handle, because you've chosen to live this life together. If you've chosen that, then you've got to be flexible in how you do it. If you're so certain that the only way to do it is this way, then you're likely not going to be with that person forever and always.
I fully agree with that for sure.
Yeah. So I know that we took this conversation, it went from one place to another, but I love that about our discussions. And I love that you and I were talking to each other this podcast. Was there anything that you wanted to add before I close out?
No, that was it right there.
Okay. So I really did enjoy this discussion, and I thank you all for listening in to the Universe is Talking. As always, it's such a pleasure to have you with us on this journey. We want to hear from you, though. Let us know what your thoughts are on this topic or about any topics you'd like us to discuss in the future. In the meantime, be sure to like, follow, share, and until next time, love on each other.